This unassuming little white box with a tail can change the way you use your smart home. Hello, I'm Wanderer001 and this is my review of the Switchbot Hub Mini. I will start this review off by prefacing that Switchbot did send me the mini hub here for the purposes of doing an unbiased review, and that's what you're going to get. I will admit that Switchbot has sent me a few other products in the past, and the Switchbot Hub Mini here, the one that I thought that I would actually like the least. So let's talk about what we get here. We have, as I mentioned, an unassuming little white brick. This brick is 2.5 inches wide with a height of 2.5 and a depth of 0.5. On the back, we have a single little hole that we can mount this with. So put a screw and slips into place, or we can lay this flat and there's little fees here. There is an included micro USB to USB plug that is 5 feet in length, which is greatly appreciated. It does not come with a wall wart, so you will have to have your own brick or a USB port to plug this into. And realistically, aside from a quick how-to guide, the only other thing is some 3M mounting tape in the box. However, as we see here, there is an LED that is flashing on the front of this device, which can be turned off via the application. And on the top, might be a little hard to see, but there is a little button there for pairing and Bluetooth. So I say pairing and Bluetooth, and we're looking at a hub. What does this hub do? Well, as you might imagine, if you have any other Switchbot devices, this hub can act as a gateway to the internet for those devices. What do I mean by that? Well, if you have a Switchbot bot, review over there in the corner, you'll know that it operates only using Bluetooth. However, with the Switchbot Hub Mini here, you will open up that device to the internet, meaning you can now control it remotely when you're not on site within Bluetooth range via the application. This will work for any Switchbot that operates only with Bluetooth. But not only that, it opens it up to your voice assistants, your Alexas and your Google Home and Siri through some trickery, but it opens it up to that. And if this was the only thing that the Hub Mini did, I would say probably not the best thing in the world. However, this is not the only thing the Hub Mini does. It is also a universal IR blaster, meaning I can program this to mimic any IR remote that I have in my house. But first, let's talk about the ridiculously simple setup for the Hub Mini here. This will be setup of the Switchbot Hub Mini. So again, we have our Switchbot app open right here. We're going to select the plus sign in the upper right hand corner, but we are going to search for this device. So here we go, Hub Mini. So we have to plug in the device using the included cable. I'm just gonna quickly plug that in over here. So we don't have anything to actually press and it already has started blinking. So we are going to select next. Even though the Hub Mini starts blinking, there actually is a button on the top of it. So that image is actually it tilted slightly forward. So it'll be a fast blink, then you select next. And there it just wants us to pop it on our Wi-Fi. So we're gonna do that again. So I have proceeded to give it a name, location, and Wi-Fi credentials. However, the credentials are in plain text. I don't particularly care for that, but aside from that, really quick, it's done. So that's setup of the Switchbot Hub Mini. As you saw, just like with any other Switchbot device, super simple setup. Now, the Hub Mini does connect to everything using Bluetooth LE, which are the things around it, but it connects to your network via Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz, meaning longer range, but not faster speeds. With something like this, you don't need it to actually have fast speeds. You need it to have those longer ranges because you want to be able to engulf your home with one of these if you centrally locate it. But as I mentioned, it has that IR blaster. And for me, there are two main areas in my home where I'm like, yes, I could use an IR blaster to, one, kind of consolidate my remote, which is my living room, to turn off my TV, my soundbar, etc. But also one particular air conditioner over there in the corner that I could never get to access Wi-Fi, even though it's supposed to be able to. Well, if I've got an IR blaster, I don't have to worry about that. So let me show you what that process was like for those items. This will be adding a IR remote. We start by selecting our Switchbot Hub and then add a remote. And they've got lots of different ones that you can pick from, but we are going to do this for an air conditioner. So we're going to come up here and then it gives you information as to what you should be doing. So we're going to take our remote for our air conditioner, placing it near the Hub Mini, but also making sure that it is close enough that it will operate the air conditioner in the back there. So we're going to select Start Learning. So we start by what brand it is. So for our particular case, when I went to go try and find an air conditioner, and it is not listed. So for me, what we're going to do is we're going to come back and we're going to select Other, because realistically, I just need the air conditioner to be turned on and off. I don't care about the temperature because I'll already have the temperature set. All right, so it's letting me know doing this, I cannot control them via Amazon Echo devices. So it's just saying make sure that it's actual IR and not Bluetooth. This particular is. So we're going to call this Frederick Air Conditioner. So I gave it a really horrible name there, Frederick Air Conditioner, and all devices. We're going to hit save. All right, so this will start the learning process. So we're going to hit the edit button, and then we're going to add. All right, so that learned, so we're gonna hit save. It wants me to test it first. All right, so we're gonna hit save. Button name, and there we've got our AC on and off. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna tap that. So we've got test, edit, rearrange. So I can test. So I see the light came on the air conditioner. All right. So that does appear to be working. So we're going to hit save and then back. So right there, we have a control for our air conditioner. So if I select that and tap it, we can see that it targets the air conditioner. Now, the one thing with this particular air conditioner is I have to tap it twice to turn it on and off. However, the off command is automatically picking up the IR double tap. So I'd have to redo this to set up the on command, but just like that, I can now turn on and off my air conditioner, which I could never get to work correctly via the app that came with this because it couldn't connect to Wi-Fi. But now I have the Hub Mini here from Switchbot, and I can control this. It's great. This will be trying to add the LG TV that we're looking at in the background. Got the app right here. There we go. Going to select the Hub Mini. We're going to add a remote or a control. We're going to select TV and then start Smart Learning. I'm going to search for our TV brand, which I'm going to do right here. All right, and I said I don't know the model, so I get to kind of swipe through different models here so I can test the remote. So there's about 178 of these, so let's see. Come up here, the remote. All right, so I felt my phone vibrate, and I could see that that is changing to mute. Muting is working. Turn it off. Power on and off the TV. Whoa. There we go. Try and power the TV back on. Oh, well, it looks like it'll take a second, but there we go. And I can select source. This one's, oh wait. Yeah, this one has source grade out, but I should be able to do source. So I'd have to look through all the different models to find the one that has the source. Or I can cheat and actually look up the model number. All right, so this is an older TV. It's closest to, say, this model here, and then it's gonna say tap on the remote so that it can try and get the recommended, but does not seem to want to work. Yeah, so we can either do Smart Learning again, or I can hit next, and then you get to swipe through the remote. So this is a little aggravating, because while I can use the volume controls through this, and I could change the channel, cannot change the input. So I would have to swipe through all of these to save, and we're just gonna do save. So sadly, well, I do have access to the remote control. It's not the one for my model because, well, my TV is a little too old. But now we have two devices there, both linked to the IR hub, just hanging out. As you saw, I added those particular items via the application. Granted, the majority of what the Hub Mini does is mimic IR remotes or connect your other Switchbot devices to the cloud, making them accessible. But that's not the only thing that you can do with the application. There is so much more. So let's take a look at the application for the Switchbot Hub Mini. This is the app portion for the Switchbot Mini IR Hub. This is going to be a little different than I have done for the other Switchbot things in that the application itself for the hub, it's really not what you're thinking. The hub itself acts as a means of connecting your Bluetooth Switchbot devices to the internet, allowing them to access Alexa or Google or whatever you choose. However, you can also use the hub as an IR blaster in which you can combine IR remotes and use this as its main means of communicating with those devices. So up here, I actually set up a IR remote for my air conditioner, which I just set it up so that if I tap this button, it will turn on my air conditioner. And then I set up another one right here for my TV set, where if I select this, I get a TV remote, which will allow me to do things like change the channels, change the volumes, and type in numbers if I was actually on cable, and then had a directional pad here, and then the color labels that you all get with the LG TV remote. However, the Switchbot Hub Mini here, if I select this, realistically, all it does is say, hey, do you want to add a remote? And if I select this, it'll have me choose a remote, and then setting up one of those remotes. And then I can come back to here and I can select that, and it brings me right to my remotes that I had shortcuts for on the main page. Or I could set up scheduling. So if I set up a schedule, I can say here, and we'll leave that at that. We'll say this day and this day, action, and I select an action, and I can choose, do I want it for this, AC on or off, and then I can actually set up a schedule for the IR blaster to talk to that device. Now the one thing is, the IR blaster does need to be in the location of the device that you are actually trying to control. Right now, this air conditioner is on my second floor. The TV is on my first floor. I cannot control the two at the same time because they're in two different areas for the IR blaster. So if you've got a grouping of technology in your living room, you can control all of those at once using a single hub. That's really what you can do with the actual functionality portion of the application for the Hub Mini. But if we come up here to our settings, this will allow us to get into the settings for the Hub Mini. So right here, we've got name. So we can say change the name, change its location, and change the room. Coming back, I have my Wi-Fi settings, which will allow me to jump onto a different network. Here we have the indicator light. So right now I have the indicator light is turned on, but I can toggle that off, and what will happen is the white light that's on the front of the Hub Mini will turn itself off, so you don't have to have it on all the time. Notice when I turned off that light, it turned off automatically the keep turned on in standby mode. So if I select that, I can hypothetically have the indicator light on, so when I push something, it will turn the light on, but when it's not doing anything, the light will remain off. So that's kind of a nice option to have right there. You have NFC, which will allow you to create either NFC tags or remotes, but these are extra products that you would have to pick up with Switchbot in order to do. So if I do that, I would create a tag and I would have that particular action happen. Coming down, we've got our logs. This will be all of the logs for the app control that we were using. So right there, you saw me when I was playing with my air conditioner. We have our FAQs, so this will open up a page for your Hub Mini to find out what you need. Firmware version, selecting that, show your firmware, and let you know if you have any firmware that needs updating. And then right down here, device info. This will let you know all the information about your Hub Mini, so MAC address, serial number, all of that fun stuff. And then you can delete your Hub Mini right there. And really, that's everything that you can do for the Hub Mini with the app. Realistically, you are setting it up to be a bridge for your other devices and an IR controller. So there's not a lot of options for you to play with the hub itself, but once you start adding in those IR controllers, that's where the Hub Mini really gets into the nitty-gritty of what it can do. But other than that, it just hangs out there. A surprising amount of things that you could do for this unassuming little white box. As I stated before, when I first got this from Switchbot, I was not really sold on a hub. I myself do not like hubs. I want all of my things to connect to the internet because I don't want to have to rely on another peripheral to make all of my things communicate better. However, the more things that I've gotten in a smart home, the more that I realize a hub has its place. In that one, if I have a lot of things that are connecting to my Wi-Fi, and maybe I don't have the best Wi-Fi, whether that's from my ISP or my router, I might need something like a hub to act as a single point of contact. So in that case, this is great. Turn those Bluetooth devices into something that's accessible for your Google Assistant or for an application, which is great. The fact that this has an IR blaster that allows me to program a bunch of remotes so long as they're within range of this. So that air conditioner that I did was on my second floor. My media center is on my first floor. So obviously I cannot use this in both places. I would need two different hubs. But the fact that I'm able to even program IR things using a hub like this, game changer. That was the thing that did it for me. If the price point for this was just for it being a hub, I would say pass. However, the fact that it's a hub, the fact that it's a programmable IR blaster, and you can program so many things. You saw, I couldn't do the air conditioner, so I manually did that. You can do that with other devices that you have. Just the fact that they let you do that, in my opinion, makes this a solid buy, especially if you have other Switchbot devices. With that being said, I have been Wanderer001. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the area below. And as always, thanks for watching.
If you found this video helpful, consider giving it a like, as that will help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here, you can always help fuel the next review by buying me a coffee, link in the description below. Last but not least, if you want to be notified when I upload a new video, you know what to do.